To begin with, we are going to get the data from our Excel workbook here. This is the data that we will be working with. It is the employee data of the fictional Awesome Chocolates company. Here we have got name, employee ID, gender, qualification, date of join, job title, salary, age, and leave balance. And we are going to look at these 10 analysis themes and figure out how to use Tableau to make those analysis. Our first topic is how many people are in each job. Here in the data view, Tableau shows us all the dimensions and all the measures that are available within our data set. We are going to use the ones that we have right now, but we will eventually add few more items to this list here. So I'm going to take job title and put it into the rows area here. So each job title would get one row label. And then take the data count and put it here. We can see how many people are there by each job title. And when you sort this, we can see that packaging associate is our most popular job with 22 people in it. And marketing manager is the least popular one with just 10 people in it. Here we are using a table view, but if you want, you can use the show me option and convert this into a graph. Let's try out the bar chart option here. When making bar charts, it's a good idea to apply a sort order on the data so that you can see the most important data points bubble to the top. So for example, again, I can see my packaging associate being the most popular job up on the top. I like the way this is presented, but I'm not 100% happy with the layout, both the colors as well as the axis. I would like to add data labels instead and take out the axis. To do this, we can go to the analysis and use the show mark labels to add the data labels. Now that they are added, I'm just going to right click on the axis and then uncheck the show header option to take out that axis. To change the color, we can go to the marks area and pick the color and choose a different color. So let's go with this nice orange color. That looks great. The next question that we would like to answer is gender distribution of our staff. For something like gender distribution, I would like to use a pie chart. So I'm going to take gender and put it into rows, and again take the data count and put it into the columns, and we will get the gender distribution of our data. Within this data set, we only have two genders, male and female, and this is how the values look like. By default, it takes a shape of the bar chart, but I can go to show me and turn this into a pie chart, and we'll get a nice little pie chart here. Again, we can add the data labels so that those show up. Let's say we like this pie chart, but I would like to show the word as well. So right now it is saying 73 and 88, but I want to say male 73, female 88. To do this, we can take the gender, drag and drop it onto the label here in the marks area, and the label will be overwritten with the gender value right now. I'm also going to do the same for data count so that now the label has both gender and the data count. So you have male 73, female 88. So this is the gender distribution at overall level. Now, if I want to see the gender distribution for a specific job title, we can right click on the job title and use the show filter option to add a job title filter. Right now we are looking at all the jobs, but I can go and uncheck this and select product manager to see how the distribution is for that particular category, or go to marketing specialist, and now we are seeing the distribution for both of these jobs. You can change the nature of this filter by going here and selecting how you want the filtering to work. Right now we are using multiple values, but if I go to either single value list, I'll be able to pick one job at a time. So if I pick product manager, I'll deselect whatever was selected previously. Next, we are going to look at age spread of our staff. For something like age spread, a histogram is perfect. We can start by taking the age and putting it into the values area here. By default, Tableau is going to sum up the age. Now, if you go to the show me area, you can switch the chart type to a histogram. This is going to split the age by count of ages into age bins. Tableau also creates an age bin for us to categorize these ages. Let's go and customize this age bin because it doesn't look like it is following any meaningful pattern. So we can right click here, edit the age bin, and we can see that the bin size is actually 2.63 years, which is a very weird choice. So I'm going to go with 5. And this is how our age distribution looks like. I want to see how this distribution would be for each of the genders. So we can take the gender and put it into the color mark so that we can get 2 different colors, one for male and one for female. Let's enhance this by adding some labels onto this graph. We can take the count age measure that is here, hold down Control and drag it to the label area. This way you can add the same measure as a label, and that will show you how many people are there in each age bucket or age bin. While this is good, you may want to see this number as a percentage instead of the number. To do this, we can select the age bin, expand this little thingy here, and go to quick table calculation and then just say percent of total. That's gonna show you what that number is as a percentage of grand total. While this is good, I don't want these percentages to be for the grand total. I want these numbers, 2 of them, to add up to 100%. So within each age bucket, what is the representation? To change this, we can click on that little arrow and use the compute using option, and then instead of across, I'm going to go with the table down so that the percentages are calculated like this, and we can see that this adds up to 100, that adds up to 100, and here we have 100%. This looks great. It tells me the story of how our age distribution is at an overall level as well as by gender. The next one is which jobs pay more. For this kind of analysis, we could look at each job title and calculate the average salary in that job. We can take the job title and put it into the row label and take the salary and put it into the values. By default, Tableau would sum up the salary. So we're seeing sum of salary here. What we want is actually average salary. So I can go here, click on this, change from sum to average so that we can get the average. Next thing that I want to do is make sure that this is in the currency format. We don't have to do the formatting at an individual visual level. We can directly select the measure here, the salary. Click on this, go to default properties, number format, and select the currency custom, and then say display units need to be in thousands with 1 decimal place, and click OK. This way, wherever you use salary, it will always have a thousands formatting with currency symbol before it. Next, let's turn this into a visual. So I'll go and click here and change this to a bar graph. And we now have a nice little bar chart that tells us what is the average salary at each job level. Let's apply a sort order, and we can see that highest paying job is product manager with $82,800 average salary. And at the bottom is packaging associate with $33,000 salary. While this is good, a great way to enhance this visual is by telling how many people work in each of the jobs. We do have that information here in Q1. We can see that packaging associate, we have 22 people, whereas product manager, we have 16 people. But if you want, you can also include that information here. One cool way to add this is select the data count and drag and drop it into the tooltip marks area here. That way, every time you point on the visual, you will see how many people are in that particular job title. Here is a little bit of homework for you. Can you figure out how to add minimum and maximum salary as additional tooltips into the visual? Let me know how you did that in the comments area. The next one is top earners by job. For this, we are going to add job title to the filter and click OK, as well as show this filter. I'm going to change this to single select, just like we did earlier. And now for any selected job title, I would like to see who the employees are and what is their salary, and then eventually filter this down to just the top 3 people. So we're going to get the employee ID and name and their salary here. Let's turn this into a bar graph. And now we can see that if I go to a different job title, I'm going to see their employees and the salaries in the descending order. But like I said, I don't want to see everything. I just want to see the top 3 people in each job title. To do that, we can go to the employee ID here and apply a filter and then see top 3 by salary. And when you click OK, you'll just see the top 3 items. Now notice what happens when I switch to a different job title. So if I go to product manager, I don't get anything. This is because the way Tableau applies their filters is it will first apply the top filters and then apply the dimension filters. In which case here job title is a dimension, so it's going to apply that filter later. To fix this problem, we need to tell Tableau that job title needs to be a filter that is applied before you do anything else in this scenario. So that kind of a thing is called a context filter. We can just select here and then say job title needs to be in the context. Any context filter will have that kind of a gray color, indicating that it is the filter that is applied before doing some of the other filters on the screen. Even then, we don't see anything until we go back to packaging associate. The moment I go to something else, I don't see the answer here. What's going on? This is because when we originally applied top 10 filter and set it to top 3, Tableau kind of remembered the employee IDs and then just used those. So we need to select the employee ID here and then show this filter as well so that we can see what's going on. Here the employee IDs are actually kind of checked out. So this is why when I go to a different thing, I'm not seeing those employees because they're all unchecked. I'm going to clear this by going to all. And now, whenever I select a different department or different job title, I'm going to see the graph updated. You might be thinking, okay, this is all good, but I don't want to keep seeing this filter all the time. What do I do? There is a fix for that. This filter is only visible on the visual level, but when you actually build a report or a dashboard, you can hide away this filter and it will all work all right. At least that's how I found the answer. If you do know another way of solving this problem, let me know in the chat. The next one is qualification versus salary. For this, I have already built the graph because I thought this way we can kind of speed up the video. So here is one visual that we can use to analyze the job qualification and salary spread. To create this, what I did is I used the box plot option here and put education qualification into columns and salary into row label area. When you do it like that, it's going to just show a smaller version of this graph. So then you need to take something like employee ID and add it to the detail mark so that each employee gets their own dot and the distribution is calculated. From here, we can clearly see that if you do have master's degree, your salary spread, the middle part is actually higher on the graph. Next comes bachelor's degree and then high school and then diploma. So this is how our salaries are spread. The next one is staff growth. And here is a line graph that shows how many people we have added over time. And this line graph actually shows you the cumulative total. And it is broken down into 2 lines, one for each of the gender values that we have in the data. And this is how the trend looks. Let's build this from scratch. To do that, we can go to worksheet, clear sheet, and then from here, we can take the date of join and put it into either rows or columns and add data count. So this is how many people have joined each year. I'm going to turn this into a line graph. Now this is the actual number of people that joined each year. What we want is a cumulative number. For this, we can just select the count of data here and then go to quick table calculation and then change to running total. That's going to show you the trend like this. And then we want to see that line one for each gender. So I'm going to take gender and put it into the color. So it's going to split that into both male and female lines. Finally, I'm going to hold control and drag and drop count of data into the label area so that we can also add labels. So as of now, 2023, we have 73 male employees and 88 female employees. The next one is employee filter by starting letter. So here the intention is we'll specify the starting letter of an employee, for example, B or D, And then we would like to see all the employees that have their name beginning with that letter, their names, their salaries, their date of joins, and other detail. So let's construct this first. We're going to put employee ID, name, job title, gender, salary, leave balance. That looks great, but this is for all the employees. So now we would like to filter on the employee name. So we are going to add employee names to the filter bucket here and then show this filter. And here, change the filter setting to wildcard match. And now we can type any letter. So for example, if I type B and enter, I'm going to see all the employees that have their name beginning or containing B. This is not exactly what I want. What I wanted is anybody whose name begins with B. So to get that, we need to first add an extra column that tells us what is the first letter of the name. So for this, we can add an extra calculation into the table. You can just right click anywhere in the white space and say create calculated field. And then we are going to call this as first letter. And here you can write a formula. Tableau has a lot of formulas and you can refer to the help section here to kind of understand what is going on. I'm kind of new to this thing, but I'm assuming there will be a left function which kind of works in Excel. So left of my name and then 1. This should give us the first letter of the name. So if I click OK, I'll have a first letter. And because this is a dimension, it will be automatically added into the dimensions area of the table. Now we're going to take out this filter and instead add first letter as a filter and then show that. And now from here, I can pick any letter. I'm going to change this filter to single select. And then I can now say B. All my B employees will be here. H, M, or even V. Of course, this sort of employee name filtering is kind of rare in real life analysis. But hopefully now you have an idea of how to add your own calculated fields. We are going to use that idea in the next one as well, which is leave balance analysis. Let's say for each job title, I want to understand what is their leave balance like. So when you add the leave balance, it's going to actually sum up the leave balance. We don't want the sum, so I'm going to change this to average. On average, 16 days of leave balance for chocolatiers and 17 days for sales representatives. But we would also like to know how many of our employees have more than 20 days of leave balance. So here I have calculated staff with more than 20 days leave balance as a measure, and I can see that information. And this is the formula for that. If leave balance is greater than 20, then 1, else 0, end. This is how you can write an if formula in Tableau. And when we use this measure in Tableau, it's going to tell us how many people have more than 20 days leave balance. So for example, chocolatier group has 5 staff with more than 20 days leave balance, whereas product managers have only 1 of them. While this is the total information, if I now want to break this into both male and female versions of the table, I can take something like gender and put it into the columns at a different level, and we now have female and male breakdown of that information. This looks good. Now let's go to the last one, which is to create a quick HR dashboard combining all the insights that we have calculated so far. So for this, I have added a dashboard page and named it as Q10. I'm going to change the layout of this to a PowerPoint style so that it kind of fits the full screen on most presentations or monitors. Next up, let's add some of the visuals that we have built. So we're going to start off with headcount by department. If you hold down the Shift key and drag the Q1 worksheet onto the dashboard area, you can just drop it as a floating box. I'm just going to lay it out like this and place it here. And I'm going to take out the title and fit to entire view so that it takes up the entire space. Let's add the gender distribution as well. You can remove any of the filters or legends that get added from the dashboard sheet. Before we add more things, let's first quickly add a little bit of background on the dashboard so that our charts can pop. We can go to the dashboard format and from the default shading here, I'm going to select something a little bit slightly darker so that we have these boxes elevate on the screen. That looks great. Now let's go ahead and add some of the other visuals. So question 3 shows us the distribution of staff by age, and we can again hold down shift on this, bring that onto the screen. Next, I would like to show the top earners by job, and I want to make this all interactive. That means if I pick a particular job title here by clicking on that in the visual, then I want to see the top 3 earners in that job. So we are going to add question 5. And at this point, if I click on something, I would like to see the top 3 people here. So we're going to select this guy and click on this little thing here and then say use as filter. At this point, if I select packaging associate, I should be able to see that here. Unfortunately, that's not really working. This is because, again, the order in which Tableau runs these filters is kicking in. So we need to go back to the page and notice that now we have got an action coming in from the dashboard. So let's make this a context level filter. And now when I go back here, I should be able to see the top 3 people in that particular job title. And again, I can go to a different one and instantly see that updated in my report. You can actually see that when you do this, it's updating not just this, but all my other graphs as well. This graph is getting updated. Of course, my gender breakdown is not getting updated because that is linked to this one there. So we are going to just say that this should only talk to this one and not the other ones here. So to do that, we just need to go back to the Q3 and from here just clear this filter so that that filter is not acting on this visual. And when we come back here, we can select this and this graph wouldn't update. It will always point the age distribution for entire staff. Let's add the qualification versus salary information too, and the trend of head count over a period of time. And finally, the leave balance analysis. I'm going to take out this job title filter and instead link this to that. So now when I select a different job title here, my gender distribution thing updates, this graph updates, that one updates, and some of these other tables are updating. Again, we don't want any of these guys to update, so we just need to delink them. Wherever we don't want that, we can just go to the worksheet and clear those filters. And then by coming back here, selecting the visual and then saying ignore actions here, so that these visuals do not respond to any of the dashboard actions. That looks perfect. Let's go ahead and add a few more titles and wrap this up. You can use the text box object here and draw a text box on screen and just type whatever you want there. And here is our final dashboard. Doesn't it look awesome? You can select any job title to understand what is going on or look at the overall picture of our employees. I hope you enjoyed this.